Yepsail, all my beautiful people. How are you doing tonight? My name is Tracy Lee. Welcome to the alternate point of view. I want to say welcome to everyone who is new here and everyone who is returning and continuously watching these videos. I greatly appreciate you all so much. And I want to say I greatly appreciate all of my faithful subscribers, faithful people who watch this channel. And I want to say I hope that everyone is praying for each other. I have some subscribers and viewers that are going through a lot of tough times right now. And I want to say, just really everyone pray for each other, keep everyone in their thoughts and prayers. We have some people that are going through some things that I just hope that everyone keeps each other in their thoughts and prayers, because it's really important that we do that these days, because everyone is going through something and we don't always know what that is. So I hope you will do that. So let's get into what's been going on this week. This week's trial, obviously, is the Black Swan Ballerina trial, and it is about Ashley Benefield and Doug Benefield. So this has been going on for quite some time. This trial has been kind of deja vu, because I think we've already seen this trial once before, about a year ago, where Ashley Benefield was trying to do a stand your ground trial, where she was saying that she shot and killed her husband because of self-defense. And in Florida, they do have stand your ground laws. So she was saying that she was being attacked by her husband, and so she shot him. But there's a lot more to this story than meets the eye. So let's get into the background of Ashley and Doug Benefield. Before we do that, though, I want to go ahead and let you all know that we're doing this type of video without any pictures or any newsreels or court showings, because A, I am at work, and B, because my computer is having issues at home. So I've ordered a new computer. So starting later next week, we'll have some new videos, and hopefully they will look better and will be better edited. So stay tuned. So anyway, let's get into Ashley Benefield, Black Swan, and Doug Benefield, who seemed to have been caught off guard when he met Ashley Benefield. And I believe they met in 2015, 2016, possibly, I think it was probably 2015 that they met. He met her at a campaign event where they, just kind of was like love at first sight, right? Like, it was really weird. They were 30 years apart. Ashley was 24 and Doug was 54. But Doug had just lost his wife like 9 months before. So it wasn't, like, Doug wasn't in the best place. He just lost his wife of several years, many years. And she died suddenly of a heart attack, and it was an undiagnosed kind of artery issue, where she had a 75% blockage. So it was very unexpected. They had a daughter who was 15. So, and the daughter, unfortunately, very sadly found her mother. So this was really bad situation. But Doug was at a political event, and so was Ashley. Ashley and Doug meet, and it was really fast. Like 13 days after they met, they got married. Ashley was the ballerina. She was very pretty, very attractive, young 24-year-old girl, woman, whatever. And she literally had Doug wrapped around her finger. And so to the point that they got married 13 days after they met, and he didn't even tell his 15-year-old daughter until after they were married. So imagine how you would feel if you were 15 and you find out that your father has married a 24-year-old woman who is only 9 years older than you. And your mom just passed away 9 months prior. But believe it or not, Eva, his daughter, was pretty supportive and very, just whatever would make her dad happy, because her dad was her world and her best friend. So crazy thing is that Ashley had such an influence over Doug, and he just wanted to make her happy, and he wanted to make sure she knew that whatever she wanted, he was going to make it happen. And Doug was very well-to-do. He wasn't a scrub, basically. He had a good life. He was making good money. He traveled overseas for work, and Ashley really wasn't doing anything. She wasn't working. She was working on the Trump campaign. She was, using her look. She was a swimsuit model. She wasn't doing ballet anymore per se because she had an injury, but she did have an idea. She had this great idea to open a ballet in Charleston, where Doug was living and now Ashley living. But she didn't have the funds. She didn't have the money. She didn't have the backing. She didn't know people. But she had this idea. And Doug was like, okay, I can get you the funds and we can get some backing. Let's do this. I support you. What a great freaking guy, right? So he gets her the ballet. He doesn't know anything about ballet, but he does this. He gets her the money. He gets her the backers. He gets her, everything she wants. So they open this ballet. They audition all these dancers, and they are paying all of these dancers. And literally a couple of months into this ballet opening, Ashley finds out she's pregnant. Now, the crazy thing about her finding out she's pregnant is not that she just found out she's pregnant, but Doug had had a vasectomy. When his daughter was born, he and his wife decided that that was the only baby they wanted, and they just wanted Eva, and that was it. And they wanted to have their little happy family, and that was all. Well, when he met Ashley, of course, she's 24. She wants to have a family. So she talks Doug into reversing his vasectomy, and he does that. So not only does Doug meet this 24-year-old beautiful ballerina that sweeps him off of his feet, and he marries her 13 days later, but then she talks him into opening a ballet company that he knows nothing about and dumps a lot of money into and has people he knows invest into it. And then she talks him into reversing a vasectomy, and then she drives a wedge between he and his daughter, and then she gets pregnant, and then she leaves him in Charleston with the ballet as it opens and runs to Florida to live with her mother while she's pregnant, because she can't be pregnant and run a ballet. So after she does that, Doug is left with dealing with the ballet and with his own job, and he knows nothing about the ballet. And of course, all the dancers are like, what the heck's going on? We don't know. Everybody's not getting paid. The ballet is just kind of flippy-flopping around, and Ashley's nowhere to be found. The next thing you know, Ashley goes to South Carolina, packs up all her stuff, leaves Doug a note, and says, basically, see ya, don't find me, don't contact me, I will call the police. I'm afraid of you and don't want to be around you. And he's like, what the heck is happening? So that's a crazy situation. Anyway, the ballet goes under because Doug doesn't know what to do. And Ashley basically disconnects herself from the ballet and says, oh, I am so sorry. I have nothing to do with this. These new owners did this, not me. Then She accuses Doug of poisoning her and the baby while she's pregnant, but Doug is in South Carolina and she's in Florida. She's not been around Doug the whole pregnancy. And then she checks herself into a hospital a few weeks before the baby is due and claims that she's been poisoned by Doug, who's in South Carolina, and then also claims that for her birthday, he sent her a gift, which was, by the way, the trial's going on right now, and in the trial, they did not say this, but it was tea. It was tea. It was a teapot and teacups and tea. They didn't tell you that in the trial. They make it sound like he sent her poison, but he didn't. He sent her tea to make her feel better while she was pregnant. And she turns it into the police and says, he sent me poison. I opened it. It gave me a headache and it made me sick. And she's claiming that he's trying to kill her. But the judge in Florida said that there was not one scintilla of evidence to prove a single thing that she was saying against Doug. While she's in Florida, she files numerous injunctions against Doug, which means she's filing claims against Doug to keep him away from her and to keep him away from the child. Needless to say, the judge in Florida is like, this is ridiculous. There will be visitation allowed because she also had the child without Doug's knowledge, didn't tell him, and she didn't put Doug on the birth certificate, and she didn't give the child the name that they chose, and she didn't give the child Doug's last name either. Now, Doug is super religious. He sends his daughter a Bible verse every single morning. He sends Ashley a Bible verse every single morning. And this is because Ashley and Doug were on the verge of reconciling, according to what their text messages say and what their attorneys say. They were supposedly breaking up, getting a divorce, because Doug found out that she was engaged to another man. He had a private investigator following her around. He had discovered that she was living her own life in Florida. But then she decided to do a complete turnaround and make him think that they were going to move to Maryland together, where her mother had gotten a house. Such a strange story that you go from meeting someone and it's like the love of your life, supposedly, you're all into each other, and then this woman just like manipulates you into marriage, a business, a baby, and then now she's accusing you of poisoning her, poisoning the baby. She even went to so far as to put her and the baby into some sort of weird oxygen tank for 28 days, 40 hours a week. It is odd. She did a lot to keep this story going. She even went to Doug's daughter and tried to claim that Doug poisoned his ex-wife, or his wife. He's a widow, sorry, my bad. His first wife. Ashley could not stand that Doug had been married before her. So this woman there's something mentally wrong with her. In court, though, as the trial has been going on this week, it has been found out that obviously the shots fired from Ashley's gun show that Doug was not coming towards Ashley, as she claimed. She claimed that he was attacking her, but the shots were fired with Doug's body turned away. They went into the side. He was shot in the leg, and he was shot in his arm. So in his arm to the side. And that shot is what went through his arm into the side of his body. Doug actually lived for an hour after he was shot, which is really, really sad that he was lying on the floor alive. She did not offer any life-saving measures to him whatsoever. It's also very sad that she claimed that he, was coming at her. She was afraid for her life. But if you see her on the stand, he never hit her. In all of this time, they've been back and forth with each other, this lengthy separation, reconciliation, injunctions, all of this stuff. Doug never laid a hand on her. She admitted that on the stand. She also admitted on the stand that they were going to move together to Maryland. And she also admitted on the stand that she was still going to follow through with the injunction that she had planned just a few days later to continue the custody battle, even though they had just met the week before and decided that they were going to reconcile and squash all of this custody stuff, and they were moving together to Maryland. But she was not telling Doug what she was really doing. So what was she doing? She's claiming she has battered wife syndrome. She wasn't even around him when she was making these claims of being poisoned and abused and fear for her life and all of this stuff. She was living in Florida. Doug was in South Carolina. She wasn't even responding to his text messages. He was begging her, please just call me, talk to me, tell me what's going on. Like, what has happened? What happened? But in actuality, the whole time she's in Florida living with her mom, and she's just making all of this stuff up, and this poor child in the process is going through all of this, like, hospitals and doctors and testing. It's just so sad. The best part of the trial, they've had several witnesses for the state. They've had lots of attorneys as witnesses because Doug and Ashley had attorneys on both sides. Ashley had several different attorneys. So all of these attorneys spoke about the many different injunctions that Ashley filed, the many different accusations that Ashley filed, and how the judge in Florida did not agree with Ashley and did not take her side on any of these accusations, and how Doug and Ashley both had psychological exams, and Doug was cleared of every and anything that Ashley accused him of. There was a couple of things Doug did do wrong. Okay, so Doug's not a saint. There was an argument that Ashley and Doug had in South Carolina. It was about Eva, his daughter. Ashley was upset that Doug was not taking her side in this argument. She just kept it going and going and going, and Doug just finally got fed up. He was just sick of arguing with her. Ashley and Doug are fond of weapons, guns. I think Doug had his gun. He got really mad. I don't know what happened exactly with the situation, but apparently Ashley claims he threw a gun at her. There's several different variations of the story. He either threw the gun at her, he had the gun, he shot the gun into the ceiling. He does admit that. He admitted it to his friends. He was very upset about that he did that. I'm not sure what kind of story she told Doug. There were some pretty racy text messages regarding something that must have happened to Ashley where she might have been assaulted at some point in time. Really infuriated Doug what happened to her. He wanted to hurt whoever did this to her. So I think that's how manipulative she was. Like, she would tell him things that happened. I don't know if she really was, if that really did happen to her. If it did, it's terrible, but it really put him on another level of protection for her. So That came out in the trial. Also, if you looked at the text messages between the two of them, Doug was very like, I love you, sweet dreams, good night, saying her Bible verses, can't wait to see you, that kind of stuff. And she would just emoji him, love the message, like the message. You know, she never really had like a conversation with him. She never, you know, she kept it very to the point. But the most interesting part about her getting on the stand and testifying, which was very, very good, it did not bode well for her, I have to say. Oh man, I don't know who did it better, Ashley Benefield or Amber Heard. You know, I'm going to have to go with, gosh, I don't know, honestly. You know where Ashley Benefield's story fell apart? The big part where it fell apart was when the prosecutor asked her to get up and demonstrate how Doug was coming after her. She couldn't do it. She could not demonstrate because she didn't have a scenario. She didn't have one. She couldn't demonstrate because there was no demonstration for her to give because Doug didn't come after her. She was like trying to do it. She was like, he was just coming at me in like this fighting stance, but she couldn't do it. She couldn't do the fighting stance. And she's like, were his fists balled up? What was he doing? How was he coming at you? And she was like, well, you know, and then she just basically, what she did, instead of giving the demonstration, she just broke down. She just completely lost it. And that is how she got out of showing the actual demonstration of what happened, because she did not have a demonstration. Very, 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 very good. That was excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. So what I've taken away from this case and this trial is that Ashley Benefield is going to go to jail. The only thing I also have taken away is that the jury is mostly women. I learned that when the judge had to call in each and every juror in and ask if they had overheard any conversation outside during any of their breaks, because there was a report that there was some information in earshot of one of the jurors, and of course it happened to be a male juror. And when they were calling all the jurors in, well, all of them were female, except for a couple. So I don't know when they do the jury kind of weeding out the alternates, how many are going to be left. But I will say that the majority of the jury are female. And the problem with that is, you know, it can go either way. So this is great for the defense in their eyes, because the defense will look at this and go, yes, women will pick with their emotion in their heart. And they may really look at Ashley with sympathy and say, oh my gosh, she is a battered woman. She has a child. We want to make sure she gets home to her child. She's got to take care of her baby, blah, blah, blah. And, you know, they may really find sympathy for her. Or they might be like me and go, this bitch is lying. Like, she's a liar. Because there may be some women in there that really do know what it's like to be around a battered woman, or someone who's been through that experience, or maybe they themselves have been a battered woman. I don't know. They usually do ask that in the jury pool of voir dire. When they pick a jury, they usually do ask if you have been, or if you know someone or something like that, just to kind of weed that out. So if that is an issue, it's hard to find a person, a female or anyone that doesn't know someone that's been in that situation. So that still might work in the defense's favor, but we will see. The only thing I will say is that where are Ashley's friends at? Where are the people that did she confided in? Anyone that she may have spoken to? Anyone that can vouch for her? That can say, like, oh my gosh, I was there with her the entire time she was going through this, and I can tell you how fearful she was of Doug. There isn't anyone. There's no one that they have called. All they're calling is attorneys. A bunch of attorneys who got paid to draw up all of these injunctions for her. And of course they're going to be on her side because they got paid to be on her side. So all I can say is, well, who I feel the most awful for is Eva and the youngest child, Emerson, I believe her name is. And I feel badly for the children because, you know, Eva lost her mother and she found her mother dead. And now she's lost her father. And what's sad is that when Eva didn't hear from her dad the morning that she did not get her morning Bible verse, she knew Ashley killed her father. And, you know, that's just really sad to me because that means she knew the type of person Ashley was. But it also shows that she still wanted to believe for her dad because her dad wanted to believe. And that seems to be the consensus among everyone that Doug knew, is that they wanted to see the good because Doug wanted to see the good. And because Doug, you know, I mean, my God, he reversed a vasectomy to have a child with this woman. And then she took that and ran away. What in the world was her real agenda? I mean, you know, and then she says that she was sick during her pregnancy and she was sicker than normal people would be when they're pregnant. That's how she knew he was poisoning her. Honey, you ain't never been pregnant before. What are you talking about? You don't know. So, I think it is a sad situation. I think the prosecution has done a good job. I think they could have done a little better job cross-examining her. I was kind of hoping they were going to go a little harder at her, but they didn't. There were some things that I think they could have asked her and put her on the spot a little better, to show her true colors a little more, especially as far as like, you know, where were you in the house? What caused him to get so upset? What were you talking about? She was trying to say she wanted to be done packing and he wasn't ready. That they were mixing stuff up in the truck and that agitated him. But none of her story makes any sense. Like, that doesn't make any sense. You know, the layout of the house, like, I wish the prosecution would have put up a picture of the layout of the house. I think they may have, and we just didn't see it. But the layout of the house, like, okay, you were here, so you went from this spot to this room to get the gun. I know they showed the room, and they showed the container the gun was in, and okay, so this is where you got the gun, you know, that kind of stuff. I will say that Doug uprooted his entire life in South Carolina and moved to Florida to be near his baby girl, left his other daughter to be with the baby girl in hopes of finding some way that he and Ashley were going to find somehow to co-parent. And then Ashley led him to believe that she was going to reconcile with him. And that was a lie. Everything with this woman was a complete and teetotal lie. She, like I said, met him, somehow manipulated him, married him. I mean, she didn't have any money. I don't know how she was doing the things she was doing. She was flying on Trump's plane. She was one of his campaign people on his campaign. I mean, I don't know what she was doing other than that. She wasn't doing ballet. She met Doug, and I don't know if she just saw like an opportunity and jumped at it, and then she couldn't do this for the long haul. I really don't know what her intentions were with him, but she's a very, very good manipulator, and she definitely used her looks, if that's what you go for. I mean, she's not ugly, but she's not like super duper duper attractive. She's got a great body. I would love to have her body, but you know, she's a ballerina, for God's sake. But there's something just like super meticulous about her. Like it's almost like this has been like a plan. Like when you watch movies and they have a mark, it was like he was the mark. And she did everything she needed to do to get everything she wanted. She got the mark. She married the well-off guy. She got the ballet company, and she got the baby. And, you know, but it wasn't as easy as she thought it was going to be to get rid of him. She thought by leaving that note and packing her stuff that, you know, he was going to accept that and move on. But he didn't, because he is a responsible adult, and he wasn't going to let his baby girl just go away. He wasn't just going to be like, oh, I have a kid out there and I'm not going to take care of it. So that didn't work out the way she wanted it to. And so she realized, oh, I need to come up with another plan. And this is where she came up with the plan. And then that plan didn't work. So then she had to come up with an even more sinister plan. So now a man is dead. So we shall see next week what happens with the rest of the trial. But I believe